We're going to look at a little bit of blending, some quick and easy techniques, and some great effects with popping colour. Okay, the first thing that's important when using Copic markers and you're stamping is the ink. The ink we're using today is Memento ink, and we're using Tuxedo Black. Don't use your Stays On ink, girls. It's going to wreck up those beautiful markers. The paper that we're using today is Express It blending card. Absolutely fantastic. It allows your inks to move around, blend really, really well. So the stamps I'm using for today's project are Darkroom Door, beautiful new spiral flower set, and we're going to use these to make some custom flowers. We're going to stamp them out, colour them in. So the first thing to do is choose one of your flowers. I'm going to use this gorgeous little one here. Pop it onto your acrylic block, and we're going to ink it up. I like to tap my ink onto the top so I can not get all those little grungy bits around my flower, because I don't want those. You can stamp out quite a few of these because we're going to use a lot on our project today, and you can actually fill about half a sheet. Should do what we're going to do for our project. We're going to use a variety of flowers, large, small. So I've just stamped out a few here. This would be enough for a card, but if you're doing a scrapbooking page, you might want to fill your sheet with lots of different flowers. We're going to be using lime green and pink today. Gorgeous colour combination. The lime green Copic markers that we're using are YG00, YG03 and YG06. We've got our markers just 3 numbers apart, which gives a beautiful blending, nice and easy without trying too hard and wasting too much ink. So when working with Copic markers, I'm using the brush end, and I'm going to start at the centre on one petal and using a circular motion work my way to the top. Working one petal at a time means the ink's not going to dry and leave a hard colouring line, you know, like with your old-fashioned textures. And with this, you can go outside the line. Yes, that's permission to go outside the line because we're going to cut these flowers out later, so it doesn't matter. It means this is quick and easy to do because you're not trying to fiddle and fuss with little tiny details. See, coat one on already. We're going to move to our second one, and the blend I use for this is kind of a flick blending technique. It's lovely. Now you can flick towards yourself or away, depending on your preferred technique, and we're going to do that on each petal, not quite all the way to the end, and that's going to give us some shadow, lovely deep shadow in the centre. And now we're down to our last colour, the YG06, and again we're going to use that flicking technique. Don't matter if you go outside the lines, and again we're going to go over the green, but not quite as far as we went before. We're going to go back down to our middle, the YG03, and just go over the top up to where we went before, and that's going to soften those edges so we get a lovely blend rather than hard lines. And you can even go over it in a circular motion at the end. It'll give you a different look whether you flick or go with the circular motion. Down to our last pale blender again, and I'm just running circle motion over the entire flower to blend and soften our edges. And there you go, that flower is done. So now we're going to have a go at colouring with pink. Pink and red can be a little bit difficult to colour with, but if you get your numbers just 2 or 3 apart rather than 5 or 6 apart, you'll have a much easier time of blending them. The markers I'm using today are a mix of chow markers, and I've got a sketch marker thrown in there for good measure. They are a little bit different in that the sketch marker holds more ink, and it doesn't roll off the table. It's fantastic. So I'm going to start with RV21. It's a nice pale red-violet, colouring outside the lines in that nice circular motion. It gives us a lovely even layer of ink. So with that pale colour, by colouring all over, it primes the cardstock so that you get a nice blend of colour, and it's much easier when you get to the end. Moving up to RV23, this is slightly darker, 2 numbers higher, and we're going to colour over that, but not go out quite as far as we did before. I'm using the gorgeous sketch marker now, RV25, colouring again, and you'll notice this is really quick because we've got hardly any area to cover. And last but not least, RV29, and we're just doing a little in the centre. So we've gone up, and now it's time to quickly go back down the scale. See how quick this is? And the very last one, we go over with the RV21 again. It just blends it all together, and our flower is done. You could do these sitting in front of the television at night and then make your card or your scrapbook page the next day. So while I cut these out, because that's not very interesting to watch, I'll tell you a little bit about the markers. Copic markers come from Japan. They've been around for a really long time, but it's very fun that we're just getting to know about them with papercraft. You can take a lesson from a Copic certified designer and buy your Copic markers at art and craft supply stores, scrapbooking stores and things like that. When you're cutting out these flowers, you're going to want a nice little fine pair of scissors. If you don't have ones like these, try some embroidery scissors. They have a great curve on them and they're fantastic for cutting out flowers. A great thing to do when you're cutting out flowers that are this small is you don't want to try and move your scissors. You should move your cardstock. So you can see I'm keeping the scissors actually still, but moving the cardstock. It means you can be a lot more accurate and it's a bit easier on the wrist holding the scissors. So here you can see I've actually cut out a whole bunch of flowers. I've kind of arranged them on my ruler because my border's about 3 inches and I wanted to try them out to see where they might go. Don't be too organised with this, randomly drop them in, it'll give you a much better effect and you'll be happier with it at the end. So I've laid out all my flowers on this little border here. It had a bit of a seam, so I've been able to cover that over. It's called artistic license. You can layer them up, pop some up on foam dots, use some double-sided tape, use your favourite glue. If you want, you could actually mix in some mulberry flowers or paper flowers. And if you're thinking, oh, I haven't got the right colour, take a white flower, take one of your markers, and you can colour that up as well. And there we have a lovely custom coloured flower. You can fit these in to match your coloured embellishments. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.